Hi, I'm Graham and welcome back to Man vs Film. This is going to be another Blu Ray update, and I've got 5 movies that I picked up recently, 1 Criterion and 4 Indicator movies. So let's just dive straight into it. First up, It Happened One Night, a Criterion movie, one that I hadn't really heard of before, directed by Frank Capra, starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. And this is a movie about a rich heiress whose controlling father kidnaps her away, annuls her marriage, and she breaks free and ends up on the run trying to get back to her estranged husband. Along the way, she bumps into Clark Gable's reporter character, who smells her story because he knows who she is. Nobody else really does. She's run out of money. She's just trying to get back. So it's on the road, romantic kind of comedy, one of these really entertaining, really fairy light, easy watching movies that came out in this time. I think this won the Oscar for Best Picture as well, if I remember rightly, in 1934. And it's a movie that I saw a long time ago, haven't seen in ages. I'm quite happy to pick up again. Again, this was another used one. Came with the booklet and everything inside it. Nice little disc, nice package. I'm not really too bothered about the extras in this one. I just wanted to revisit the movie again, and I'm quite happy to add it to the small but ever-growing Criterion collection. Okay, so back onto the Indicator titles. You know, I kind of love this company. I've got pretty much all their titles so far, and most of the things I'm going to pick up anyway. But this month, they're all kind of crime-infused, detective type of movies, things that really do spark my interest quite a lot. So first up is Otley, a movie about a guy who wakes up after a night in the town and finds out that he's wanted for murder. But there seems to be a few people after him as well. There's also like the mob after him for something. So you have like police chasing him, foreign agents chasing him, the mob after him, and just kind of getting caught up in all these things. It sounds a bit like a sort of almost kind of comedy-esque caper type of movie. I don't really know anything about it. This is what I love most about this label. They seem to release titles that some I've heard of, some I've never heard of, but they're usually really worth checking out. So this is another one that I'm really curious about. And just for anybody watching, the 4 Indicator titles that came out in March, I'm going to list them in order of where I want to watch them, what I perceive is going to be the most interesting. That'll be the last. Next up is Town on Trial. This is just a basic murder mystery, I think, which is something that I really love. If it's done and it's done well, then I'm always usually really interested in it. So this is basically about 1950s Britain. They have a country club. They have this woman who is apparently of loose morals, who gets strangled, murdered, and there seems to be a lot of suspects. This could be anybody. It's up to a detective to come in to try and figure out who it does. The detective is played by John Mills, and he has to weed out all the red herrings, weed out everybody who is not involved in this, and trying to figure out who it is. Now, I do love murder mysteries. I love it if it gets to an ending and it surprises me, but they've gave me enough clues to figure out who could possibly have done that murder. When you get to the end and the rug's pulled from under your feet, like most of the giallo movies where you could never guess whoever was going to do these murders, I like it when it's well done, and apparently this one's supposed to be pretty good, and I'm not going to read anything into it. I've not seen any images from the movie whatsoever. This is one that I'm going to stick on and just, hopefully, it's going to confound me. Or if not, at least it gives me enough breadcrumbs that I've managed to figure it out and still feel good about getting there at the same time the detective does. Okay, Gumshoe is next up, and it's one that really intrigues me. I hadn't heard of it before. Albert Finney plays the lead character in this. He is a bingo caller who decides that he just wants to be a private detective. He posts an advert in the paper saying that he's going to be like a Sam Spade, like a Dashiell Hammett kind of character, and he gets a phone call and ends up in amongst this whole conspiracy. He gets an envelope with money and a gun, and he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. People treat him like a real detective. He's embroidered in something that is way out of his pay grade. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's in situations that are life or death, and it seems to infect people round about him. They seem to be involved in something that he had no idea about. It's a movie I don't really know much about. Even checking out the synopsis and reading things about it, it feels as if it could be a kind of comedy, but looking at the trailer, it feels as if it's very serious. I'm interested. It's directed by Stephen Frears as well. It's one that, again, I've never heard of this, but I am super interested in checking it out. And last up is Michelangelo Antonio's The Passenger. I love this era of Jack Nicholson, the 70s, and most of the big ones you've kind of seen, but this seems to be quite a few movies. The Indicator have released of Jack Nicholson movies ones that I hadn't heard of before, that his performances are truly terrific. He seems to have someone that had a really varied career that I only seem to have seen the high points, the ones that are most notable, the ones that have lasted test of time. But this is on IMDb's top 250 movies of all time. It's got a couple of great tracking shots. Apparently, I don't know, haven't seen it. The story revolves around Jack Nicholson's character. He's a reporter who is in the Sahara covering a war there. The person staying in the hotel room next to him dies suddenly, and he notices a resemblance between them. He hates his life, so he swaps places with his character. He carries the body into his room, pronounces him dead, swaps over the pictures and the passports, and takes over this man's life. The man turns out to be a gun runner and starts to just follow his appointment book, living his life. It sounds really fascinating. And of course, this era of Jack Nicholson, like I said, is super exciting. He's always doing wonderful work. And I love discovering titles like this. I'm quite excited about this one. I don't know if it's going to live up to my expectations, but from what I can hear, the reviews that I've read, the things that I've seen about it, this movie is a fantastic movie. So that is it. That is my month. That is what I've picked up so far of these recent releases. Don't worry, there'll be more Blu Ray releases coming soon, because there has been a narrow sale and I went a little bit over the top with that. So that's it. There we go, 5 titles for this video of movies that I've picked up. I'd love to know what you've picked up, what you think of these titles. If you've seen any of them, let me know in the comment box below your thoughts on these movies. And of course, I'll see you next time on Man vs. Film.